Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard bashes trustees for boycotting the meeting. I find as I follow this process in Thornton and Dalton, just less and less gets done over time. It feels like the wheels of progress are grinding to a halt. What do we got going on now? Let's get into it. Here we go. We're going to read an article from the Lansing Journal. But before we do that, let's watch just a little bit of a video. What do you say? Should we do that? Let's do it.
Well, the power struggle here in Thornton Township has reached the point where trustees prevented Supervisor Tiffany Henyard from getting what she wants by strategically staying home.
If you want the tea, get it from me.
Supervisor Tiffany Henyard planned to appoint a new trustee in Thornton Township during its regularly scheduled meeting, the vacancy created by another trustee's resignation. Henyard says the appointment would have created what she calls balance on the board, but two other trustees blocked it from happening by not showing up to the meeting.
We feel that it's necessary to have that go to the people. Let the people choose.
It's not to harm, to hurt, to stop, but to ensure that the right things are being done for the residents of Thornton Township.
With Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlile absent, there was no quorum. The meeting and the appointment couldn't happen. This wasn't the first time they've skipped meetings. Henyard accuses them of causing gridlock in a township where she touts surpluses in the budget.
If the board do not show up, we are not able to pay bills. We are not able to handle the business.
Henyard's monologue continued after the meeting on Facebook Live.
And remember, I always said this, stop lying on me before I start telling the truth on you. Because I don't know, Trustee Carlile was appointed to her seat as trustee.
That's a Trump move right there. She's now calling Carlile. Carlile. Oh, one of the trustees. Classic.
On that same live stream, Henyard announced she plans to win re-election in Thornton Township and in Dalton, where she's mayor, by a landslide. She hasn't filed for the race in Thornton Township, but she already faces a challenge from Harvey Mayor Christopher Clark. In Dalton, trustee Jason House is looking to unseat her. At the last meeting in Dalton, trustees voted to return 3 luxury SUVs leased for Henyard. We now know 2 of them have been returned. The third remains in
Tahoe Tiff's Tahoes. Tahoe Tiff without the Tahoes now.
Use by Henyard.
And I'm expecting an apology later on because I will be suing a lot of individuals for defaming my name.
Henyard at the end there taking a swing at the press and her doubters. She did announce that she's planning to find a way to refund about $2 million in property taxes to homeowners. That's an initiative that hasn't been taken up by the board in recent meetings because of these absences. In South Holland, Jenna Barnes, WGN News.
If you were dying to see some content you won't see anywhere else, check out our member content on reasonabletv.com. Just released a couple of new videos. One's on Trinidad in Tennessee. They are in numbers here. You're seeing that all across the country. That storyline is there and nowhere else. Also, Como News, Jeremy Harris talks about Seattle mass stabbing. That was a wild, wild scene we had here in Seattle, and Jeremy Harris was right there, Johnny on the spot with his cameraman, Jonathan. They did a heck of a job, and they explain what that was like covering a stabbing in progress. If you want to check this stuff out, what's it going to cost you? $3.99 a month. You get a 14-day free trial, and then if you like it, you can sign up for even cheaper if you do a yearly $39.99 charge. Thanks in advance. Back to your regular scheduled program. So I think, one of the big things here is that you're literally in, for lack of a better term, a Mexican standoff. It's like, and that's just basically a term for when neither party moves. You just, because the trustees aren't getting the information they need from the supermayor, from Tiffany Henyard, and Tiffany Henyard isn't given a butt. She's not given any information out. There's no back and forth for progress to happen in such a way that it makes sense. If you're asking for information and you're not repeatedly get it, and you need that information to make a good decision, and you don't get it, then what can you do? What can you do? I mean, you're literally stuck with trying to get business done in an environment that you should probably just wait until you've got that information to make the right choices. But meanwhile, this township of Thornton keeps going. Life moves on, whether or not these two parties can't get their acts together. So from the Lansing Journal, a small crowd gathered at the Thornton Township office in South Holland on the evening of November 19th, that was Tuesday, for a board meeting that was destined not to happen. Here's what happened. Trustees Carlile and Gonzalez declined to attend upcoming Thornton Township board meeting because they're not getting the information they need to deal with things that are on the agenda. So this paragraph basically covers that and push through her own initiatives without full transparency. There's never any transparency, nothing even close to that. Henyard spoke for about 20 minutes, referencing what she called fake news and Judases in the audience. Judases, those away giving Jesus, right? While reminding those in attendance about a township-sponsored Thanksgiving food giveaway on Saturday and an upcoming holiday toy giveaway. Hey, we're going to take some of your taxpayers' dollars and give you just a scooch back in the form of food and then some toys. And she does a great job of promoting herself through these giveaways. But keep in mind, Township of Thornton and Village of Dalton, those are your taxpayers' dollars to begin with. That is money coming out of your pocket that you're getting back in the form of some free food and some free toys. If you wanted free food and free toys, wouldn't you rather just have that money in your pocket so you can spend it on whatever you want? Yeah, that's how this normally works, but not in Dalton and not in the Township of Thornton. So Trustee Darlene Gray Everett and Clerk Loretta C. Wells were also present. They're allies of Henyard. In addition to the village attorney, he's the white board-looking guy, and other staff. Without a quorum for voting, no business was conducted. Public reaction to the boycott. You never know what will happen at the last minute. Alicia Nicole, a Thornton Township resident who broadcast the non-meeting on Facebook Live. There's always a story, always propaganda with her. I came to see what line she was spewing. Okay, that's fair enough. And we all do too. We just want to see what's going on because there's always going to be just some train wreck somewhere. And what I see and what I see that is just terrible for the constituents of Dalton and for the constituents of Township of Thornton is that meanwhile, business is just barely inching along. You've got vendors like in Dalton that haven't been paid, a banner company. And so the banner company contracts with somebody to take the banners down because they haven't been paid. And then Tiff shows up and tells her police, you need to press charges on these people. Well, for what? Taking a banner down that hasn't been paid for? You know what I mean? There's just always some nonsense like that. Who knows what the deal was there? Or how about like her rent not being paid? Yeah, you're literally going through a foreclosure process. Why? You're making close to $400,000 a year between your two positions, Village of Dalton, Township of Thornton, and your boyfriend's job with, I think, Township of Thornton. $400,000? And you can't figure out how to pay rent on a house you may or may not live at? Yeah. Nicole also referenced Trustee Carlile, who hasn't attended the past several meetings, citing concerns for her physical safety. Well, it's my understanding she has a no contact order against one of the men that Tiffany Henyard insists on keep coming to the meetings. So, she got a judge to say, hey, no contact between the two of you, and you got to stay away from the female. And yet that's not happening. So I don't really blame her. I don't know the actual ins and outs of that, but to me, that sounds like, you got a temporary restraining order, a no contact order, something along those lines going on. And that's why Trustee Carlile has requested to phone in her presence at the meetings, but Tiffany Henyard hasn't allowed that. Carlile requested approval to attend the 2nd October meeting by phone. Henyard has denied Carlile's request while she's flanked by at least one security guard at the meetings. Yeah, she's got her own security. And then somebody who's had literally some kind of run-in with one of the people that Tiffany Henyard brings along with her, one of her allies at the meetings, he shows up with the security detail. Yeah. She'll do things that are convenient for her own people, but inconvenient for others. And she would say, oh, it's politics. In a 50-minute video posted on Facebook and YouTube after the meeting, Henyard ran down a list of grievances against Gonzalez and Carlile, whom she consistently refers to as Carlile. That's the Carmen Carlile. Lion Carmen Carlile, I believe Tiffany Henyard referred to her at one time. Now she's just cut that down to Carlile. I do not believe Carmen Carlile is a liar. I just don't. Everything that she brings to the table seems to me to be fair. That's just me looking in from the outside. I have no reason to believe that she's lying. I have no reason to believe also that Chris Gonzalez is lying. I just don't. I mean, you look at that guy and go, nah, maybe he's not perfect, but I don't know why he, in his job, he seems totally competent to me. And when he says stuff, you're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right. Tiffany Henyard, what do you got? I'm suing everybody. That's kind of her response. So she refers to her as Carlile. Carlile previously worked as Henyard's assistant, but now votes against the supervisor's agenda and considers herself a whistleblower. There's just all kinds of these narratives and storylines and stuff just kind of weaving in and out of that, right? It's deeply disappointing that the trustees decided to cancel the only scheduled meeting for November. Henyard said in the video, this is where she throws everybody under the bus, right? This decision is troubling, as critical issues that directly impact our township operations and services remain unresolved. You do understand that means bills haven't gotten paid. Well, Tiffany Henyard, why can't you answer some of the questions regarding what the money is going to or what the spending is going to look like? What is the $2 million tax rebate that you're given to the citizens? What does that look like? What does any of this stuff look like, for instance? We don't know because we never seem to get any answers. I mean, I've never seen answers where Chris Gonzalez has thrown out a bunch of information and gone, yeah, this isn't going to work. This is not acceptable, because he just never gets the information in the first place. That's the way I see it. That's because otherwise we would see that information out there in printed form, right? Or it'd be online somewhere. Only about 20 people attended the meeting. Just people who want to see the freak show that is Tiffany Henyard when a meeting doesn't happen. She just spouts a bunch of stuff, including, I'm going to sue you. So 20 people, Nate Fields Jr., he attended, and he's a young guy. And Tiffany Henyard's official statement, when I sue everybody, because I'm coming, I'm coming for defaming my name, defaming my character in this conspiracy to destroy Tiffany Henyard. I will come for everyone. Know that. This is facts. This is not fiction, the super mayor said. Okay. All right. Takes a lot of money to run all those lawsuits. I mean, all those people you want to sue? I mean, that's a lot in attorney's fees. If you're behind rent, if you're getting evicted from a home that you may or may not live in, you're getting evicted. Do you have money to be running all these lawsuits? Or is this just more nonsense? It feels like more nonsense. Feels like nonsense. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Another perspective. Denise Clark, a new township resident who recently moved to Harvey, arrived at the township building in South Holland at 6:45, surprised to find the doors locked. Oh, you got to get there early or you got to get there late. There's no in between, because, the meeting might just be canceled. This one was canceled quite some time before, right? Because Gonzalez and Carlile, they basically said, we're not doing the meeting. We don't have enough information to go over all of the stuff. And also on the docket for this meeting, which was Tuesday, was appointing a new trustee to the board of trustees. And Chris Gonzalez basically said, hey, This should be made. This is the decision that should be made by the people. And I agree. You know what? It's a community. It's a community decision. Don't just throw somebody up there that, nominate that person. You know what I mean? Just have it be fair. But if you were fair about it, then Tiff wouldn't get to put her person up there. And so she's pushing to, let's just run this through during this meeting. Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlile, they just said, no, we're not showing up. You're not giving us the information, and this should be made a decision, by the constituents of the Township of Thornton. Moving to the south suburbs from Chicago, Clark said she was looking forward to a reprieve from Chicago-style politics. I thought this was Chicago-style politics. What am I missing here? I've been covering this story for a while. You mean moving to a little burg? It's these little burgs where things have gone absolutely haywire sideways. Yeah, villages. While saying that she was new to the Thornton Township situation, she said Henyard's hands are tied because of infighting. No, Henyard's hands are not tied. She could give out the information. She could sit down. She could have a discussion. But instead, she's threatening people to be sued. Yeah, that's the way I see it. She urged township residents to let everybody do their jobs. Well, I think that is what Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlile are trying to do. They're trying to do the best job for the community. And sometimes you just don't throw somebody out there willy-nilly for a position. And if you don't have enough information, then you say, hey, wait a minute. What are we spending this money on? How is this money being appropriated? What are we doing here? What's the story here? But there's such little information being divulged from the supermayor's office in both Dalton and in Thornton that it's literally come down to this standoff. Just, we're going to be over here, and we're going to be over here, and we're not going to meet in the middle, and we're going to get nothing done. If they want to accomplish something, they need to listen to each other. There's been a lot of listening. There's been a lot of no talking on the supermayor's part that makes any sense. There's been a lot of listening from the trustees to Tiffany Henyard because she talks a lot. And there hasn't been anything constructive coming out of her mouth other than, I'm going to sue you. Watch out. I'm going to sue you. And the truth is going to come out. I'm going to bring the truth. How many times have we heard her talk about what she's going to do and then never does it? That's the way I see it. All this not showing up, it's like we're babysitting, Clark said. They will not hear her out because there's nothing to hear. She doesn't have anything that she's bringing to the table. There's no information. She's just jamming down decisions into people's throats. And they're saying, no, we're not doing that. She's excited. She's young. We have to offer grace. No, grace time's over. Grace period's over. No grace. None whatsoever. That ship has long sailed. You're new here. Your opinion doesn't count. Don't expect a young one to be perfect. We're not expecting perfection. We're expecting a little information. We're expecting just a scooch of transparency for the constituents of Thornton and Dalton. That's what people are expecting. And that expectation has not been met in so many different ways. So let her finish her term. Well, she's gonna. It won't accomplish anything when everyone's at everyone's throat. No, but nothing gets accomplished when you're not doing your job and giving out the information or responding to things in a reasonable manner. So there's that, right? There's that. The whole thing is just next scheduled meeting. All right, December 17th. Hey, great. I will be going to a concert that evening. That'll be a fun show. All right. What else do we got here? No, not there. Now, here's Tiffany Henyard's Facebook. If you want to go there, just go Facebook, Tiffany Henyard videos. And she does, pretty long, what was this? Just about an hour, 50-minute rant there after the video was over. And then she does another live stream. I think it was today or yesterday because Chicago got a little bit of snow and Tiff was out helping people shovel snow. Instead of making decisions that, reflect the forward movement of Thornton and Dalton, Tiffany Henyard is out making prank calls to her road crew and shoveling snow or something. You know what I mean? It's like propaganda. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. The Supermayor drama continues, but it's continuing at a much slower and slower rate is the way I see it. Will it come to an absolute grinding halt? Check back in. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button. Thanks again for being here. I'll catch up in the next one. Bye for now.